Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show this Sunday. Glad to have you guys here. And gold for thousands of years, because of its scarcity, its pretty color, its fungibility, which means that 1 ounce of gold you got is worth the same as 1 ounce of gold somebody else has got, depending upon its purity. At any rate, like there's different grades of gold. But gold's been the standard for money for thousands of years. Hard money because you have to work to get it. It takes mining to get it. Bitcoin came along. And Bitcoin takes mining to get it. Now, there's a big question. It's very similar to gold. You have to mine Bitcoin. It takes energy to get. It's not easy to get it. It's getting harder and harder all the time. And it has a set scarcity. Gold's set scarcity in the world is undefined, where Bitcoin's set scarcity in the world is very, very clearly defined. And this is a marked separation between gold and Bitcoin. There's a few other things, advantages Bitcoin has. And one of the things it has is huge, is the way it's able to be moved around the internet from one place to another, halfway around the world instantaneously, practically, well, within 10 minutes. How do you move gold in the modern age? Say somebody wants to make a purchase with gold, because if it's a store of value and it's like a currency, you should be able to purchase things with it, and you can. But then if it's real physical gold we're talking about here, you have to move it. It's not that easy to do. I hear one of the big arguments about Bitcoin all the time. They say, well, it only has 7 transactions a second, and it's not capable of being a currency and everything. Well, that's not what Bitcoin's here for. Bitcoin is here for the same thing that gold's here for. And how many times do you see them moving gold around the world? They leave it in vaults and it just sits there. Bitcoin does the same thing. It sits in people's wallets, rich people's wallets. But Bitcoin can be moved a lot easier than gold. But there's a scarcity issue. So in Bitcoin, we have a well-defined scarcity. Only ever be 21 million. A lot of them have been lost. Okay. So with gold, we just don't clearly definely know. Let's get the chart started right here and take a look. Surprise discovery in Africa shows that the metal scarcity, they're talking about gold, is hard to prove. A myriad of gold bugs like to complement the yellow precious metal for its ostensible scarcity. As estimates say, only 2,500 to 3,000 tons of new gold is produced annually. While new gold discoveries have been seemingly slowed, investigative studies also show that in some areas gold is being smuggled in the country into the economy by the ton, and often never accounted for as far as per annum issuance estimates. Recent reports show that a whole mountain of gold was discovered in the Congo, as the Democratic Republic of Congo is well known for being a region that sees tons of smuggled gold filtered into the global financial system unreported. And so they found a whole mountain of this stuff. And on Bix Weir's site, he's been talking about down in the Grand Canyon there, they got some huge gold deposits. He very well might be right. Of course, in the Grand Canyon, I don't see them opening that up to mining anytime soon, But you never know when on Earth, when they're going to have some they could have some new major gold discovery someplace, uh, and all of a sudden that has to enter into the market. The amount of gold, it's an undetermined number at any rate. This is because it's an undetermined number. This also allows them, and the same thing with silver, it allows them to manipulate the price more so, because there's an undetermined number of how much is out there. So they're able to create all these short contracts, where it's much harder to do that with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has a very finite amount of Bitcoin that's created in the world. And guys, I'm going to tell you what, this is a huge factor that is a plus for Bitcoin. So, if we go back to this article here, let's take a look. Go back a page right here. It says BlackRock executive says that gold is now less effective as a hedge against inflation. So what does he think is, let me just switch on this article and see what he says here. BlackRock executive says that gold's now a less effective hedge against inflation. A portfolio manager, a member of BlackRock Global Association Fund, says gold is now less effective as a hedge against inflation, as well as moves in other assets such as stocks and comments that appeared to undercut the precious metals' renowned status. Russ Kostrich claimed that gold's ability to hedge against inflation has been somewhat exaggerated. So what does he think's a better hedge against inflation? Bitcoin? Maybe he's right. Maybe Bitcoin is in the process right now becoming a hedge against inflation amongst investors. And, one of the things about this is pretend you're a big hedge fund or whatever, and you've got to try to hedge against inflation. It's difficult to do because all these assets, all these financial instruments and everything are all connected to dollars and they're all settled out in dollars. Even the SLV and GLD, you're just going to be settled out in dollars now because the COMEX let's face it, it's on its way out as far as settling in the actual physical metals. And I mean it's still doing it, but I can see a time coming very soon where they're not going to be able to. The demand is too great. So what do you do if you're some sort of big hedge fund manager or something and you got to hedge against inflation? Well, first thing you might think of is gold, But how do you buy it? In large amounts, in the physical form. And then how do you take delivery of that? I mean, you got to guard the stuff. If you're carrying more than a few $1 million worth of gold, maybe for those guys, $5 million is peanuts. But if you got $5 million worth of gold in a big stack, first off, it's going to be too big to heavy for the mailman to carry. You ain't going to be able to send it that way. So how are you going to send it? Well, you're going to have to send it with guards and vaults and all this kind of stuff. And it's going to take weeks, if not months, to be processed through different countries as it's traveling, and there are going to be a lot of questions asked, and these countries might seize it. Now, Bitcoin, bing-a-bang-a-boom, it's in your wallet. You buy it. So for a hedge fund manager, it wants, and so this is the way they might start all going. They might start leaving the yellow metal behind because it's just so much easier to deal with the digital form of gold, which is Bitcoin. Something big to think about, guys. You guys have a great rest of the weekend. I'm not down on gold or anything. I think gold is going to perform very well through this financial crisis, gold and silver. And cryptocurrency has its flaws too. Okay? Like what if the internet goes out? Like in Texas, they had no power. What if we have widespread power outages through the country and stuff? So I've been in the opinion since the very start of my channel is to have all three asset classes. Thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the very next show. Bye-bye.